So in the chat, I want to know, tell me, do you ever feel this way when you are talking to people? Just super frustrated. Anyone? Or do you feel like I am a rock star at talking to people about what we do? And only on Wednesdays? Delise, is that what that means? You only feel frustrated on Wednesdays? There should be more people popping up in the group. Yes, frustrated. Maybe today too. Yes. Okay. We cannot help each other if we are not fully honest here. Okay, good. I am not the only one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, that's what I love to hear. Okay, so yes, sometimes we just feel super frustrated in our conversations, to the point of like really wanting just to play some Lionel Richie and go into the fetal position in the corner of the room. I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes it's like, hello, did you get my message, right? And so when I was a new coach, one of the lessons I learned pretty quickly on, because I was having a lot of, like, I was fearless in my ability to reach out to people, but I wasn't getting a lot of traction and I couldn't understand why. And it wasn't until I had discovered some resources and just kind of like developed a little bit more skills that I started to have more success, in helping people take that next step. And so what I learned early on as a new coach is that I tend to default to transactional conversations. Does anyone else do that? Where like our lives are so stinking busy that you just want to bottom line it. Is anyone, who's a bottom line girl? Anybody a bottom liner? Where you're just like, I don't have time to like dive deep. I just want to know, are you in or are you out? And it wasn't because I was insensitive. It was because I was excited about helping someone. I wanted to help them because I was checking things off my mental list, because I'm a red personality. And so like, I try to write down lists, but like I keep them up here in my head, which means I'm trying to check them off as fast as possible so I don't forget. And I wanted to know if the person I was talking to was in or out, because I was so excited. I just wanted to, cut to the chase. I was super excited about like the possibility of life change for that person. So my intentions were really, really good, but I needed to slow down. Okay. I needed to slow down and I needed to listen more. And so, one of the things that when I talk to new coaches, if they are, connecting with other people and they're having conversations, but they're not helping people take a next step, or they're not hitting Success Club, I almost always can bring it back to this material that we are going to talk about tonight, which is step 2, okay, in the 5-step invitation process. So we all know, like, that initial invite you send out, like, hey, I don't know if you'd be interested or not, but I'm hosting a new group. That's like step 1. That's the invitation, right? You reach out to someone, you invite them to your challenge group, and they respond back to you and they say, actually, I do have some goals that I would like to work on. What are the details? Like, tell me what you're doing. And that's usually when, as a new coach, we feel like our heart starts beating a little bit faster. We're like, I don't want to mess this up. What do I say? Anybody else feel that way? And so, that takes us into step 2, where now it is our job to learn their story, to really learn about them. Our job is not to pitch them the challenge pack. Our job is to understand where they're coming from, what their goals are, what their past experiences might have been. And so I always respond if they want information, even if they're like, how much does it cost? Right? Like, the temptation is to just answer their question. I never answer that question. I always ask them a question. So if they say they'd like more information, or how much does it cost, it doesn't even matter like how they respond. If they want any information at all, I'm going to say something like, hey, it sounds like this could be perfect timing. Can you share a little bit about me, or a little bit with me about what kind of goals you have for yourself? If you had a magic wand, like, don't we all wish that? I wish I had a magic wand. So that kind of makes them giggle, right? If you had a magic wand, like, what would you want your fitness results to look like? Or what would you want to achieve in the next 60, 90 days? The more you can share with me about what your average day looks like, the better I can help you. So I look forward to learning about you. Okay. So what then that takes you into this area of 3 critical, areas that you need to know about for your prospective challenger. You need to, before you ever tell them anything about, any suggestion about what they could do to reach their goals, you need to know about their fitness. You need to know about their nutrition, and you need to know about their support, right? Because what we do is kind of like a 3-legged stool. If we don't have one of those legs, like, it's not a sturdy foundation for someone to sit on. So until you have like done enough investigating to know about their current fitness goals or what they've liked in the past and their nutrition, their support, like, do not pass go. You're not going to send them any information until you have all the information to make a great recommendation. So let's talk about good questions that we can ask about fitness. All right. Like, let's take the first pillar. So I always think about this as a 3-legged stool so I don't miss anything. So I ask them one question at a time. Cause like initially, since I'm a type A personality and I'm a bottom line girl, I would be like, and this is so true. I would message someone and be like, hey, the more information you can tell me, the better, because I need to know a little bit about you to make a recommendation. So can you tell me what your average day looks like with food? Is there anything that you don't like as far as workouts are concerned? Like, I would shotgun like 2 or 3 questions to a person. And then I wonder why I heard crickets for the next, because I basically asked them to write a novel back to me before I would like give them a recommendation. That's not effective. You just need to ask one question at a time, just one. So I would, they would tell me, well, I'd like to lose 40 pounds and I really want to tone up, and my core is a trouble area for me. I really want to tone up my core. So I'd be like, awesome. Those are totally achievable goals. Like, I'm relating back to them. Okay. What does your current fitness routine look like? I want to know if they're moving at all, right? Because I'm not going to put them in Insanity Max 30 if they haven't been at least walking around the block, right? So you need to know, like, what does your current fitness routine look like? Well, I am currently taking like a gym class, twice a week. But really that's about it. And so awesome that, it's a great starting place. So you take classes at the gym, like what kind of classes do you enjoy taking? Or has there been some kind of exercise that maybe you didn't enjoy in the past? I always like to tell people, like, when I ask this question, what have you enjoyed doing in the past for exercise? Or maybe you've hated it. It's okay to not like exercise. That's actually good information, right? Because again, you're not going to suggest Insanity Max 30 for somebody who hates working out. You might suggest UV2, or you might even suggest starting with like a 3-day refresh challenge pack, or the ultimate reset. Like, maybe they just need to focus on the nutrition win because the exercise scares the heck out of them. So that's really good to give them permission to just say, I hate exercising, right? Another question I always try to ask is, hey, do you have any physical injuries or limitations I should know about? Well, that allows them to tell me a little bit about, some stuff that may have happened. Maybe they're recovering from surgery. Maybe they have sensitive knee issues. Can you see how, like, all of that information and relating back to them as they tell you about this aspect of their life would be super helpful in guiding you toward a great recommendation, right? And this is just the fitness stuff. So I know a lot of you are like, well, this is taking forever. Like, I got a lot of people I'm talking to. Yes, like, it probably takes me at least a few days to get through some of these questions, maybe even a few weeks, depending on how responsive they are. You have to slow down. You have to honor the process. So nutrition. Couple questions I ask. May I ask what an average day looks like nutrition-wise for you? Well, this is great information because they will probably tell you I skip breakfast, or I eat out for lunch, or I have been going to drive-throughs for dinner. Like our schedule is so crazy, like it's bad. So that's really good information to have, right? Because you can relate back to them. I totally understand. My nutrition used to be horrible too. I will tell you that what we do is super simple. Like I understand busy lives, like you need a simple and easy plan, right? Yes, that would be amazing, right? Keep it simple. How many times do you eat out in a given week? Now, the reason why I asked this question is because if you have a price objection come at you down the road, you've already identified that they are going to be saving a ton of money because they're not going to be eating out as much as they are about to tell you. Most people eat out at least 2 to 3 or 4 times a week. And our plan is going to give them a simple meal strategy that's going to have them eating out less, buying less junk food. And so this is super important to ask them, right? Because maybe they go to Starbucks every day. Well, guess what? You're going to give them an awesome, good for you solution that's going to keep them out of Starbucks. Sometimes people will tell me, I drink a Monster energy drink every single day. Well, that's a big red flag, right? They're trying to compensate for a lack of energy. So relate back to them. I totally understand, like energy drain is the worst. That 2 p.m. wall that we hit, man, that is just hard to get through. So then this question is like important. If you don't, I wish I could have it blinking lights for you guys. Do you struggle with brain fog, irritability, sluggishness, or cravings? How many of you have ever struggled with any of those things? Like every single person should be in the chat being like, me, 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 me. Yes, everyone. Because these are like symptoms of our nutrition being out of whack. When we are operating at a nutrient deficiency, then we can suffer from brain fog, irritability, sluggishness, or cravings. And a nutrient deficiency is where Shakeology comes in. So now you have some intel, you have some knowledge that they are struggling. I don't know if you guys have ever had brain fog or like out of control cravings or that 2 p.m. wall, but like I used to be crippled by it. Like seriously, with hypothyroid, I could barely get through my day. And so if someone were going to tell me like, hey, I can help you have a solution to have enough energy to get through the day, I'd be like, please tell me, because I'm addicted to 5-hour energy, right? They're overcompensating for the nutrient. I just thought 2 p.m. wall was because you are a morning person. No, it's probably you need some fuel, sister. So all that to say, there is a direct connection between our stomachs to our brain. It's called the vagus nerve. And so if our gut is not getting the right kind of nutrients, then it starts overriding our brain. That's where cravings kick in, right? It starts saying like, give me something. I'm not getting what I need. So that's where you can really relate back to them and let them know that you have a simple solution that pretty much tastes like ice cream. So support and accountability. This is the third leg of the 3-legged stool, right? We sometimes skip this one, but it's so critical because this is our secret sauce. What kind of support system do you have in your life? Do you have anybody who's supporting you and holding you accountable? Do you have like a butt-kicking girlfriend who's going to give you a call, make sure that you're not in a ditch? 90% of people, dare I say, like I just made that statistic up, but I'm guaranteeing, yes, I can totally add the questions, Carla. I'm guaranteeing they don't have a support system. So then ask them, would connecting with positive people moving in the same direction, like people who are fighting for more strength and better, that should be health. Oh my goodness, Joy. Typos galore. La, la, la. Better health, be encouraging for you. Well, of course it would be. So now you just helped that person say yes. So when you have, and we're going to talk about this in a second, but when you have the opportunity to relate back to a person, if you're really listening, you can phrase a question back to them that would be like, well, you're eating out a lot. Would a like really quick grab and go meal option be helpful for your busy life because you're always at the ball field for the football games? Yes. Well, now you're helping them say yes multiple times throughout your your interview. Okay. Which then helps them kind of make the connection that they should probably say yes to a next step. Which leads me to 3 critical skills to develop as you are going through these conversations. Listen more than you tell. In other words, they're in the interview, it's all about them. So you can relate back to them. Girl, I'm so sorry that you went through that surgery. I understand, like, recovery is hard. I just went through that, a few years ago. I will tell you that strength returns. Your body's a machine. I know you can do this. Let me ask you, like, what did you love to do in the past, for exercise? So relate back to them, listen to what they're telling you, and empathize with their story. Relate to their situation or where they're coming from, and let them know that you're going to be with them, right? That's part of developing relationships. So instead of being bottom line driven, we're actually looking at that person in front of us, and we're trying to connect with them. We're trying to relate to their story, trying to offer encouragement and hope. And if we are really listening, we're going to ask more questions. So like if somebody's like, well, it's been a really hard year. Like I lost my mom 3 months ago, and I've just been really struggling with food. I've been numbing myself with food, and just don't have any motivation. Well, I'm not going to ask a question about exercise or food or anything at that point. I'm going to, they just shared that they lost their mom 3 months ago. I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm just sitting here in the weight of that. And I'm so sorry. I know you must miss her so terribly. And I'm going to relate back to her story, and I'm going to empathize and try to, honor that very personal part of the story that they just shared with me. Does that make sense? So, that has helped a lot make sure that I never want to look at a person as a point, like a success code point. I never want to look at them as like anything more than like a human being who deserves love and empathy and has like a starting point. And it's hard to get started. Starting is the hardest part, right? And they're sharing like some of the most intimate parts of their life with you, their eating habits, their desire to lose weight, their feelings of their self-confidence issues, right? They're sharing some of the most intimate parts of their life with you. And so honor that by listening, relating to their situation, and asking some follow-up questions before you move on to like the next question in your interview. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes, no, maybe so. Make it rain some feedback, people. Okay. So here is what I want to challenge everyone. On our team, we really tried to promote an I do, we do, you do approach in our training. Meaning, you usually got here because maybe someone on our team, or maybe even myself, like that's the I do part. Like I invited you, or your, sponsor coach invited you. And so you have been the recipient of that kind of communication, right? So the next step is a we do. So if you're having trouble connecting with people and having good conversations and achieving Success Club, I really think maybe the we do part is what's next for you. And a we do part looks like this. You reach out to a friend and you say, hey friend, I don't know if this would interest you, but I am connected to the most awesome, amazing, positive people ever who have helped me change my life and give me, abs and biceps. And I'm kidding. You wouldn't say that, but I'm like, you're inviting them. Like, I don't know if you'd be interested, but would you like to have some information about how to get connected to our group? I think you would love it. And they say, oh my gosh, I have just been praying about what I need to do to get back in shape. I'm so miserable. And you're like, great. I think that maybe this is like perfect timing for you. Listen, I'm new to all of this. So I want to make sure that we get you the right recommendation. I'm going to connect you with my mentor, Delise or Joy or whoever your upline sponsor is. I'm going to connect you in a 3-way conversation, connect us all together so that she can ask some good questions and make sure we get you the right recommendation since I'm so new. So then you start a new Facebook conversation with myself, your friend, and you get to observe, right? You get to interject and relate back, but like you're watching me have this conversation with them, this interview. And so that can kind of teach you how to then take that conversation on yourself in the next invitation out there. So that then would be the you do help, the you do part. I was reading like that is so helpful. At the same time, I was like saying you do. That would be the you do help. So that's the you do part. Okay. So you don't have to feel like, and this can apply with coaching too. Like, let's say you have a person that you have on your like dream team list and you want them to be on your team so bad. And you reach out to them and you're like, I am so excited about our team. I know this is crazy. And it's not for everyone, but like, I just think you're the most amazing leader I know. And you're on my dream team list. Have you ever thought about coaching like I'm doing? And they might say, well, I mean, I don't know if it would be for me or not, but can you send me some information? Let me connect you in a 3-way conversation with my mentor. I'm brand new. And so I'm super excited that you want the information. Let me just get you connected to the person who can get it to you. That's what your team is here for. So if you're not leveraging 3-way conversations, you're not tapping into the power of your team. What can happen in a 3-way conversation is that, you edify your upline sponsor by telling them like, I'm going to connect you with Kristen. She's an amazing leader. She's a decade as a fitness instructor, and I don't know how long Kristen's been a fitness instructor, long time. So she's a fitness professional. She's going to like be able to give you all the details. And I can't wait for you to meet her because I just love her so much. So you just edified your sponsor, Kristen, right? And now when Kristen gets on the 3-way message with you, she can edify you. Oh my gosh, I'm so honored to meet you. Melissa has been rocking it in our groups. She is taking next steps as a coach, and she's been the biggest encourager in our group. And so I know that you are connected to someone who is going to help you for the long haul. And so they just like edified you, right? So your friend is like, wow, that's awesome, right? And so then they can give you or give your friend the right recommendation. Hopefully that helps you kind of take a baby step so that you don't feel like you have to dive into the deep blue ocean on your own. Okay. And then in my conversations, as I work through, and we could do a whole separate call on overcoming objections, but hang on a second. Something just popped up here. Like, what just happened? Oh, and now I have the spinning wheel of death. So that's helpful, right? Okay. As I am having conversations with them, if I can't overcome their objection or figure out a way for them to take a baby step, remember in our call last week with Amber Bailey, we're going to help them anyway. I've got a gal right now who is super amazing. She already has Beachbody On Demand. I couldn't overcome her financial objections with Shakeology. It's a pretty cold contact. I don't have a super strong relationship with her. So I was like, hey, why don't you just change your assigned coach to me and order a sampler and give it a try, and I'll put you in the group. Guess what? She said yes. So, I've got a new customer. She ordered a sampler, and I'll follow up with her. Sometimes, it's just more important to help someone take a baby step than to let them go completely when they have goals that you could help them with, right? So even if it's a free trial to Beachbody On Demand and a sampler, or maybe it's just Beachbody On Demand by itself, figure out a way to help them anyway. It will drive your customer volume. So that's going to drive your income. And we're going to figure out ways to honor that, right? Even in our team retreats. So I always leave them with a blessing. If they don't want to jump in a group, they're just like, no way, Jose, I will send them a meal plan. Like, here's a 5-day meal plan, or I have a free group coming up. Would you like me to follow up with you? And they're always so relieved with that. They're like, what, you're going to help me for free? Yeah, I'm going to help you for free, because I believe that you have a next step to take. You have goals, and I want to focus on people, right? The dollars will come. If I just focus on helping people, the income will come. Okay, 2 great reads that I am diving into right now. Whoops. Another thing popped up. Internet just bit the dust. Oh, sorry, Nita. Um, Grit by Angela Duckworth. She has an amazing TED Talk on the subject matter. So I'm excited to dive into this book. And then the 5-second rule with Mel Robbins. Super easy synopsis about the 5-second rule. Like if you have a challenge taking action, like you overthink things, 5-second rule is for you. Basically, Delise is like, no. 5-second rule basically helps trick your brain into action, having a bias toward action, and to stop overthinking things. You just count down backwards: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then take action, kind of like liftoff, like a rocket launches. So the next time you don't want to get out of bed, try counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then get out of bed and see if it works.